Part 2 is about why he made such a dramatic anime. Well, excuse me. Like I said, the reason why we cry is largely to do with this Kuleshov effect. It's the editing. We tend to think that the character is enduring great hardship, so it's natural that we feel sad. But Takahata never intended to make the audience cry, ever. There's an animation called In Search of Mother, and most Japanese people cried when they saw it. In his proposal for this project, Takahata stated clearly that he didn't intend to make people cry. Nonetheless, people who see this film mostly cry. I guess he doesn't understand the audience that well. But because he's so stubborn, he never admits that he made a mistake. Well, Takahata once wrote a book called The Ideal Manga Film. In this book, he says, Japanese animation now aims to make something exciting to capture people's hearts. Sure, it's easy to cry at these films, but that's not my style. I wanted the audience to see Grave of the Fireflies at a distance instead of immersing themselves in the story. And be critical of Seita. So, Takahata didn't want the audience to feel any kind of empathy towards Seita, nor did he want them to be emotional. On the contrary, he wanted the audience to have a bird's eye view. That's what he says in this book. And he also criticizes Miyazaki's recent works. He says that Miyazaki's earlier works captured things differently. And he recommended The Castle of Cagliostro. That's because there were so many ridiculous scenes. Like the scene where Chief Inspector Zenigata's face gets distorted as he looks into the water. People even laughed at Rupan's absurd jump scenes. That's because people are reminded that it's just an anime the moment they see them. Miyazaki back then knew how to separate his work from real life. And he goes on to say, but look at Spirited Away. Although it includes ridiculous scenes and the characters do all these weird moves, the audience don't laugh anymore. Miyazaki gets people excited and makes them subjective and immerse themselves in the story. But not me, Takahata says. And he goes on and on. You see? That's his wish, and he totally doesn't get it. He firmly believes that people won't cry in Search of Mother. Even if somebody tells him that they cried, he thinks that it's just a minority. In the proposal he writes, Marco is stubborn, lacks charm, and he never listens to adults. It's hard to sympathize with him. He doesn't seem to understand the power of drawing. These characters look too cute, but because he doesn't do the drawing himself, he doesn't see that. The drawing impacts people's feelings. He thinks that film direction is everything. So, when Seita loses his humanity and sleeps beside Setsuko's body expressionless and eats all the porridge and watermelon, he looks like he's grieving. Although Takahata intended to make him look perplexed by his sister's death. He tried to make him look like Seita regrets everything because he couldn't save her. But we, the audience, imagine that he's suppressing great sadness, that he's too sad to cry. He's expressionless because he cannot bear the pain. That's why we start to cry like babies. So everybody, I'm sorry to say this, but Most of you are too busy crying to have a bird's eye view. So only psychopaths like me take notice of the empty pot and the remains of the watermelon. Why don't things work out the way he planned?